Oh, oh, that's so kind of you.
All right, anytime.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a short meditation by our facilitator, Corey Yanka. So we'll just proceed with the recording of the meditation as Corey Yanka is not with us today. You got that, Greg?
You want to start off with Corey Yanka? No problem.
Yeah, please.
Lie down or sit in a comfortable position. To start, you might close your eyes if that feels good. Take 3 deep, relaxing breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time. In through the nose, out through the mouth. We'll start scanning our bodies for any tension there might be. Starting at the head. We'll do this together. We'll just observe without making any meaning out of it. Scan the crown of your head, the back of your head, your face and neck, your shoulders, one arm and then the other, all the way down to your hands. Now your back, from the neck all the way down to the final bone of the spine. You can focus your attention now on your chest and your abdomen. Are there any sensations so far? Any muscle tension? Just observe it for now. Continue with your right leg and foot and your left leg and foot. Wherever you found tension, let it go. Gently, by visualizing that it is a white cloud that slides down your body all the way to your feet, leaving your body through the soles of the feet. Perhaps there will be many clouds of tension leaving your body. That's great. You're letting them go. You can feel good about it. Once tension is out of your body, it will be gone and transformed into life-giving energy. Let's take a deep, relaxing breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Let it feel good. You can stretch your body and make sure you are comfortable wherever you are. You are a beloved child of God and the earth, deeply connected to her. Notice how your feet are planted on the ground, either physically or energetically at all times. Feeling the earth with the soles of your feet. Feel how your energy grows and extends itself from the soles of your feet towards Mother Earth. You are growing energetic roots that go into the moist, rich soil under your feet, uniting with the Mother, receiving nourishment and love from her. The more your roots extend and go deeper and deeper into the earth, the more you feel deeply grounded and held in love by Mother Earth. Stay present in this moment. You can feel it. Remain grounded and present in this moment. Grounded and present. Grounded and present. You can gently go back to your breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And one more time. Now you can slowly open your eyes when it feels good to you, and move your body slowly as you come back. Enjoy a beautiful day.
Okay.
Wow. So, Dan, I guess then you're going to be prepared to speak to the personage of Doug Goodfeather, or just wrap on.
Yeah. Well, you know what I thought I'd do, Michael, is, just talk about the Lakota method, that from my experience. So I'm in no way a teacher of the Lakota way, but I've worked with Doug now for a couple of years. Like we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago with Koryanka, and we were just talking about the shamanic path for healing.
Yeah.
And so I'm a person who's an explorer, and so I like to experience all these different modalities of healing and spiritual progression. And so what I find interesting is you have all these beautiful cultures from all over the world who come from very different perspectives, but they all see the same end goal. They just have a different path to getting there. And so what I thought would be interesting, and I'm sure Doug probably is having some technical issues, but I found that the Lakota nation, their method of healing is a bit unique. It's very much Native American approach, but it's also very effective. Some of the trauma release that I was able to witness when I did a vision quest with them was really profound. Just watching the healings go on with people. And so what I thought I could do is I could explain the process of a vision quest and what we went through, and then what I experienced. And I can give you some anecdotes from Doug as far as the process that they go through when they're performing these healings, because Doug is a very gifted healer. He has a like many of the Native Americans, he had a very traumatic childhood, and he used the Lakota way. He found himself back in the Lakota nation and used their methods to heal himself, and then in turn become a healer for his people. And as many people know, the Native Americans have had a very you might say abused relationship with our government. They've definitely been kicked around and moved around into just moved off their lands and just treated very poorly. And so there's a kind of a cultural trauma that they're working through, and watching their healing
Still?
techniques was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So
Why don't,
yes,
why
sir.
don't I,
How hasn't Lincoln built
read
that
the
once?
biography that I've been given here? Just
That'd be wonderful.
as
Mhm.
a form of introduction and give some general comment here. So Doug Goodfeather is from Standing Rock Lakota Nation and a descendant of Grandpa Chief Sitting Bull. Doug Goodfeather is the spiritual leader of the Spirit Horse Nation, a human rights and environmental protection organization. Spirit Horse Nation educates and mobilizes a global community in conscious living, mindful consumption, and collective impact. They help their community learn how to find peace and connection in their daily lives, how to lessen their impact on Mother Earth, and how to shine a light on environmental injustice wherever it may exist. If you would like to directly support the work of Douglas Goodfeather and learn more about what is his offering through his nonprofit, the Lakota Way Healing Center, visit spirithorsenation.org. So take it away, Dan.
I'm going to clean you up, okay?
Okay. So my son and I met Doug a couple of years ago. My son is actually part Native American, and so we wanted to explore. We wanted to explore. I'm sorry. Could Cilicia, could you put yourself on mute, please? Thank you. It's okay. So we wanted to, my son wanted to explore his heritage, and so we signed up as volunteers for a Vision Quest, which was being held in the Rocky Mountains outside of Boulder, Colorado. And so we did the first year. We were just helpers, and we're serving the fire, helping build the sweat lodge, and basically help were there that were participating in the ceremony. And it's a very personal ceremony, and it was really fascinating watching the transformation of the people as they're going through this, the deep releases of pain and healing that was going on. So the subsequent year, my son and I decided both to do a Vision Quest ourselves. So we went through the formal ceremony. So what a Vision Quest entails is, you go to a remote area and you're there with, other people looking for healing, and you identify an area in the mountains where you can build your area of solitude, and you basically are exposed to the elements. You can bring a sleeping bag, you lay on the ground, so you can bring like a tarp to keep yourself protected. When we were there, we got 1.5 feet of snow. This is at the end of May, so I mean the conditions are a bit austere. And so what happens is you go through, when you start your Vision Quest, you start with a sweat lodge. So these sweat lodges are very intense. You're in there, you're singing Lakota chanting songs, and you're basically preparing yourself for the Vision Quest. So you'll be in there for 30 to 40 minutes, and it's probably 200 degrees. I mean, it's extremely hot. It's to the point where you almost want to run out. It's very uncomfortable. The actual sweat lodge, what they'll do is they cook stones, these large river stones, till they're glowing red hot, and they put them inside of a pit inside the sweat lodge. And the sweat lodge is basically a constructed tent, but made with canvas or buffalo skins, things like that. And so we all climb in there. It's pitch black, and then we go through the opening ceremony. So you do that for 30 minutes to an hour, and then you are to march to your specific spot where you're going to start your own Vision Quest. And so each individual goes separately to their area. They're led somewhat blindfolded. You have a towel over your head so you can't see anybody. You're not allowed to make eye contact with anybody. And then you're led to your spot. And so then you sit there in this spot that's probably 4 feet by 8 feet, carved into the side of a hill. and you sit there by yourself for many days. There's no food and there's no water. And that's kind of that's the thing that I thought was so, remarkable is some people will do vision quests up to 7 days and they're not drinking any water during that period of time and no food. And you're exposed to the elements. So in the days, it can be hot and sunny, especially in Colorado. And at the nighttime, it would get down below zero and it'd be snowing, and it's a very challenging experience. And what happens is, as your body is being stressed in these conditions, it's amazing the pains that start to come up. And when I say pain, I'm talking emotional pain. In the Gnostic path, Michael, we call them our egos or our shadows. It's just a different path to get to it. It was really fascinating to me watching this, just when you are in a sense stressed like that in solitude, how these attachments, these egos, these shadows rear their head, and you have to deal with them because you have nowhere to run. And so it was really a profound experience of identifying and digging into these issues. So my vision quest was 2 days, and that was pretty difficult. A lot of people there did it for 3 or 4 days, and because it was my first one, I just didn't know how the dehydration would affect me. And so then when you break your vision quest, you then go back to the sweat lodge, and you have another sweat lodge. So you're very dehydrated. You haven't had any fluids for several days. And then you go to another sweat lodge, and then they break ceremony and they give you traditional Native American foods and drink. And then you are, one of the brothers that have, gone through the ceremony. And so, in retrospect, looking at this, it's what I find so beautiful about all these different experiences is there are so many ways that we can heal ourselves. We talked a couple of weeks ago about using ayahuasca, and it's a similar experience. It's just a different modality to get there. And the vision quests, I think if you go multiple days, you get into that same sort of altered state where you are communicating with your elders, you're communicating with your past lives. It drives you there. And I started getting visions and things like that when I was, in meditation, because I spent a lot of time meditating. And it's an incredible path of healing. So, when you look at what the Lakota Way Healing Center is doing, is they are bringing back these healing methods. And I think, when we look at Western culture, we've gotten so far away from our roots. And Michael, that's why, you and I, when we originally met, your involvement with the Native tribes in Canada, that really brought a resonance between the two of us, because we see that the Earth people, our Earth brothers, I believe, are going to be part of this. Oh, hold on a sec. Doug's giving me a call. Hey, Doug. Well, thank you. That was Doug. He'll be with us in just a minute. So what I found fascinating, though, is as I guess suppressed as these people have been, they have maintained their connection to Earth. And I really believe that they are going to be instrumental in helping us build a new Earth as we go through this transition we're going through. Because I think the Western cultures, we've really lost connection to Mother Earth and our relationship with nature. And I believe the Native Americans are going to be instrumental in helping us find our way again. And so that I saw that firsthand, and I saw the pain and the suffering of the communities, but how this method could heal. it was just really fascinating to me, watching both the Native Americans, but then also, Westerners who are just seeking a deeper understanding of themselves and a different way, because I think what we're doing in the West is not working. There's obviously the people who are attending this lecture here today are seeking something, and so part of the Soul School Network is to bring different, I guess, cultural ways of healing and spiritual enlightenment, and to expose, these wonderful ways our ancient cultures have found to heal themselves. And so anyway, Doug's going to be with us in just a second, or hopefully just a minute, and I will let him actually talk a bit. Michael, I don't know if you have any questions for me until Doug joins us.
No, but I find the theme of what you're presenting there in terms of modalities, it strikes me that when you were talking about the vision quest, you're talking about the concept of shadows, egos coming up and having to face them, and the similarity between the Inca teachings. The Inca teachings, the second step to the raising of consciousness is the elimination of the egos. And they made that a central key to the ability to raise your consciousness. And what you were describing in terms of the Sweat Lodge ceremony was exactly the Sweat Lodge ceremony combined with going to your isolated spot, right? It's a combination. What the Sweat Lodge is doing is pulling the toxins, and that's including the toxins that are in the brain and the thinking, and what brings about that process. So I find it, it's interesting. We're talking about the Lakota way of healing, which matches up with the Inca teachings, which I'm sure if we go through the whole scriptures of Buddhism and et cetera, we're going to find the same thing. We're going to find the exact same thing, which is one of the critical features to healing is ridding yourself of your egos, your shadows, facing your fears. All of those things line up with what I know to be, let's just say the commencement of the beginning of all religions. And so I hear it. Douglas Goodfeather is with us now. So go ahead, Dan.
Great. So one thing I want to add to that, Michael, is I read an article the other day called "The Body Keeps the Score," and our trauma is written into our bodies. And so what I found was profound with Doug in the Vision Quest is that because we're stressing our bodies so much with the Sweat Lodge and the other, that it brings that trauma to the surface. So Doug, you're on mute right now. If you could take yourself off mute, I want to introduce you. So I just gave you a little bit of background of what I've talked about. I explained how I met you with my son and how we went through the Vision Quest. And I've given my perspective on the profound healing and the methodology of the Lakota way of healing. But I would love to hear, I think this group would love to hear your background and then how you evolved into becoming the healer that you are, because you have really impacted a lot of people, in your area and helped so many heal. And so I'd love to hear how you came to this, and then you talk about what you go through when you're healing people.
Ja, trokea chante washte iwa chichiapi. We aka washte milo. Ja hinach chikile ata. Tenate estima. Hampi ki he wochikim kagapi. Ja. Yan chunkash ke heche mitaha. Good morning to all of you. My name is Doug Goodfeather. I apologize for coming in late. We had a ceremony last night, Sweat Lodge, and it went real late and overslept a little bit. But so I apologize for coming on late. It's good to see you, Dan. Hope you're doing well. Um, well, there's different modalities healing modalities that I've learned throughout my time doing this kind of work. My work literally started probably back in 1997 when I started to really get involved with I was back then I was recently sobered up. I sobered up in 95. And then right after that, I was introduced back into our culture. And from there, there's a protocols that you go through. And a lot of times these older men that will bring you through these protocols, they'll teach you a lot of these the protocols of doing sweat lodges and stuff like that. And so I went through that I guess you can say training for about 7 years before I was even allowed to pour a sweat lodge, sit in a sweat lodge. So I went through, but I was raised that way as well, and I was raised with, I guess you can say, raised in two different worlds, and so I was raised in our cultural way, and I was raised in our cultural way, and I was raised in the Western way, and so my grandma told me how to understand both ways that you had uh, to operate in and to live in. And so she said, educate yourself in everything. Everything that you learned in life, educate yourself and educate yourself in terminology and mathematics and science, spirituality and everything. So I started doing that. I started really learning these kind of modalities of healing. But I didn't really think I was going to be what I am today. My dream was to be an engineer or a lawyer or both, and those are how ambitious I was. And but I went through a lot of time, and as a kid, you know, I wasn't I was raised up throughout foster homes and until I settled back into my grandparents' homes. But my grandpa was literally he was a Korean War vet, so he had a lot of PTSD. So he didn't really have that healing. So he was very abusive and physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And my grandma was kind of like that too, but she was less. So I came through these kind of traumas and growing up through boarding school. I mean, not boarding, but adoptions, foster cares, and system like that were very abusive in all kinds of ways you can think of. And so I came through this time of this kind of abuse, and then through school, I really had trouble in school. I thought people kept saying that I was stupid, but what was going on? What I realized was going on is that I was constantly thinking of survival mode. So it wasn't that I was stupid; it was that I was thinking of survival mode. That I wanted to live. What is going to happen to me? So my focus wasn't on school; it was surviving. So I didn't really get good grades. I didn't like school at all till I got into high school. Then I literally bloomed in many ways. And then when I went to college, I realized how much I loved going to school. And then as I walked in life, you know, I came through a lot of and then in 2000 I joined the military. In 2001 we went to war. I did 2 combat tours in Iraq in 03 and 04. And something that I wasn't proud of going to war. I'm proud that I served in this country as in the army. I'm very proud of that. But going to war, I wasn't very proud of that because of the unjust that happened over there. And then I came back from war. I was married at the time, and my wife decided that she wanted to leave me, and she told me the reasons why. So you know, I accepted that because I knew I changed. I knew I was different. So I one day I was at work and I was driving home and I had this very emotional outbreak, and I pulled over and I was crying. I staggered into the ditch. And then I was crying for about 2 hours. I didn't realize I was crying that long in a ditch. And I was trying to deal with my PTSD, losing my family, all of this stuff, was hitting me at the same time. I was sober still. And I almost lost that, but I stayed strong with that. And but somebody picked me up. So I turned around to thank them. There was nobody there. From here, I went home, and a couple of weeks later, I had a dream. And this dream, we call them spirit dreams. And the dream, an old man came and instructed me to prepare myself for 1 year, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. He said, I want you to prepare yourself for 1 year, because when that 1 year comes, you're going to go on a vision quest. You're going to go to the Black Hills, where our people have been going for thousands of years to pray. And there's a place up there called Bear Butte, Matopaha. That's where a lot of the indigenous went to pray. So after that 1 year, I prepared. I got ready, and I was running. I was eating right. I was meditating, because the psychological about the vision quest, it's going to test you, because as you went to pray. Hello?
Oh, so no, go ahead.
I was.
Sorry, someone's talking in the background there. If everyone who's not speaking, can you please mute? Thank you. Go ahead, Doug. Continue.
So I prepared myself. Vision quest, it's going to test you, because
SSN, could you please mute yourself, please? Oh, so no, go ahead. Sorry, someone's talking in the.
That's great.
Okay, Doug, I apologize for that. Go ahead and continue.
No worries. So, as I prepared myself, I had to get ready for the for this vision quest, because I'll be up there for 4 days without food and water. I was going to fast, so mentally, I had to prepare myself, because that's one of the hardest things to do, as you know, Dan. And so, as I prepared myself, I was training for this whole year, and then that year came. I went to the Black Hills, and I offered a ceremony tobacco to one of the spiritual leaders at the time, and he accepted it, and he put me up on the vision quest on Bear Butte, South Dakota. And the first day that when he put me up, I'll be right before I went up, I said in my prayer out loud, I said, give me my purpose. Now, at the time, I was going to school to be a civil engineer, and I was doing pretty good in school. I was really excited. I wasn't thinking the way I was thinking now. I was thinking more of I'm going to make all this money. I'm going to travel. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to be an engineer, make all this money, all of this, la da 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 da. And then the vision came, and then right before I went up, I said, give me my purpose. So we went up there. The first day, we just kind of settled in, look in. The hunger starts to subside. That doesn't bother you, but then the thirst sticks to you all the time. And then the next day, second day came. That's where the test came. One of the tests came. I was suffering. I was really struggling. I wanted to go down. I wanted to give up. I was pouting. I was angry. I was arguing with God. I was arguing with myself, my belief, my faith, everything. I said, I could just go down right now. I could just finish. I don't need to be up here. And I was really struggling with myself. And all these little butterflies came, hundreds of them, just flying all over me, all different colors. And there were little tiny ones just playing. And then they left. All of a sudden, all that anger and came back to me, resentment. And all of a sudden, I was angry, and I was arguing with myself. And all of a sudden, all these other butterflies came, and they were a little bigger, different colors. They were flying all around me, playing, landing on me. And then they left. And what I didn't realize when I was sitting there, that they were with me all day from the time I woke up and that I started suffering until I was getting dusk. But it's felt like only minutes to me. I looked up, and because they were doing so much stuff, it was just so amazing. Never seen butterflies do stuff like that. And then and then I prepared to lay down, go to sleep, and it was really cold up there. It was on a mountain, but I had a buffalo robe, and that really kept me warm. And the next day, I got up, and there was a bird singing, and I got up and I acknowledged that bird. It was a blue bird, and it was singing this melody, really beautiful melody. And all of a sudden, it went into a song, and I went into the dream right there, the vision. I went right into the dream. And when I came into the dream, I was standing on top of the mountain I was sitting on. But the old man was with me in our dream. He said, "It's really good you came. It's good you came." He said, "That was me that picked you up in the ditch. That was me. That was me that was in the dream that told you to come here." And he said, "Look," and he pointed out, and the ground rose. And as it rose, it was rumbling and thundering, and it was all dark and black and everything. And all of a sudden, all these people were in despair, fighting, and it was all races fighting each other. It was very a despair scene. And then he said, "Look," he said, he pointed out to them. He said, "You people make yourselves sick." He said, "In order for you people to live and to help each other, people must be willing to pick these ways up. People must be willing to sacrifice to pick these ways up. These laws that were put on earth, people must be willing to pick them up." And people think when they say laws right away, they're like, "Oh, how big are a giant? I don't know." And these laws are simple, but they're powerful. And the laws are love, compassion, forgiveness, gratitude, courage, fortitude, all of these things. These are laws that come to this, that we live by. And as he was telling me this, he said, "When you're done here," he said, "I want you to go down to where you're born and raised. There you're going to find your answer." So I was in there probably about 4 hours in that dream. It was really a powerful dream. And then I came out of the dream, and it was so powerful that I was just sitting there the rest of the day just thinking about it. I couldn't even think about anything. It was so amazing. And then I went to sleep, and then the fourth day, probably about noon, they came after me, and we went down, and we go into Sweat Lodge first, and then we come out 2 rounds, and then you have a giveaway. You give people gifts, gratitude. That's how we thank the Creator, by feeding the people and giving to the people. And so I did that, and I went back to Standing Rock. That's where I'm from, South Dakota side, little village called Rock Creek. And I went there, and I started visiting all the people I grew up with and everything. And everybody was like all in despair, nothing but despair. And the people were crying about their kids. They're dead, in jail, addicted, in prison, suicide, paraplegic, still drinking. People were drinking with their families. It was really, and that blue bird came back, and my brother still lives there, and I was like talking to him, and I stayed the night, and that bird came, and he said, did you see it? Did you see it?" And I said, "What? He said, "Do you see it?" And then, and at the distance, I saw a village, a small village with all these people coming. And there was people coming down the hills from everywhere, coming to this little village, this little place. And there was two sweat lodges on each side. And there was a house, and there's families all sitting, and they're all lining up, and they're talking, and they're going into the sweat lodge, coming out. And they're all families healing. Everybody was healing at that place. They're all just coming through and going out, and they're all healing, laughing as they leave, and crying as they entered. And as they left, I realized that was the Lakota Way Healing Center. That's where the vision that gave me the purpose of what I'm doing now. The everything that I am came from that dream. And the civil engineering, the passion to do that just went out the door. And this came in. This passion came in and sat in. And I was kind of sad, but at the same time, I was very intrigued about what was going on. And so I started practicing these spiritual ways. But then I realized something too. It started teaching me not just these spiritual modalities, but it also started incorporating scientifics and mathematics in it. And I started to realize all these things that were happening, how intelligent these ways are. So intelligent. And I started to understand what was going on and started to see equations, different methods of helping people to heal. But I was dreaming of these things. So I'd bring them out, or I would go into Sweat Lodge and I would get intuitions downloaded into me. And these intuitions would come out and as healing modalities. So I realized that, and I went to college to be a counselor, a therapist. And I don't use any of that counseling skills at all. I don't use the Western philosophy or any of that stuff. It doesn't work with humans. It's the different ways. This is my thinking. This is just the way I do it. It didn't click. It was more of a construct thinking that I was, and I can't do that. It wasn't clicking with me. And because we're all natural human beings, we're all indigenous. Every one of us on this earth indigenous. We all have natural modalities that we're born with. So I brought those out of me. And I started using the fire as fire is one of our greatest philosophers. And so I started using the fire as one of our healing modalities. And I started to use the fire to help people heal, especially young men and young women who come with addictions or abuse. And I teach them how to build the fire. And the fire, once I introduce them to the fire takes over. But all of these came from my own traumas, from my own life. I didn't use and in the beginning of my life, when I left home and I was an angry man, I was blaming my parents, I blamed my mom for leaving, all of that. I was angry constantly. So I drank, became an alcoholic. And then when I sobered up, then I worked on myself, and I really seen things that I've been through were literally only teachers. And the emotional part that we went through is to emphasize those teachings in this world. But the Western philosophy came in and created a word that was so powerful that people live by it, and it's called depression. They said, we invented this word called depression. And once you label somebody that, boom, you start practicing depression. I'm depressed. Once you label somebody, boom, start practicing that label. I watched that constantly. Well, here, and I'm not saying all is the Western's bad. I'm just saying what I'm witnessing. Okay, here's a pill. Keep coming. Now you got them addicted. Now you got them coming back every week, every month. Now you got them trained. You're training them. Now they're addicted. Now they're addicted to that pharmaceutical. It's buzzing them. It's starting to. And the reason why I'm telling this, because I'm a combat vet, and that's what they inundated me with, was my with antidepressants. I started out with one antidepressant, ended up with 15 to 20 bottles of side effects, just 2 side effects, every one of those. I was bloated up to 270 pounds. all inflamed with all those medications. Still depressed, stuck, blurring, just all messed up. So finally, I decided that I needed to change myself. So I weaned myself off all of that. It took me about a year to wean myself off, about a year to maybe half a year and a half. But I was still getting buzzed by those pharmaceuticals in the brain. It buzzed me, shocked me. So finally came off of them, and I lost probably 70 pounds, 70 pounds of inflammation. I feel great. My joints feel great. I use the natural modalities, natural medicines to help me deal with my PTSD. But one of the things I started learning about depression is that it's a trained thing. And a lot of these things we go through is that I realized by training myself and studying myself, learning my own modalities, I can teach others. So I was using myself, I was studying myself, and I realized that the things I started to use to heal people and help people heal, I realized that it was a natural essence, a natural acceptance that they accepted, that there was nothing wrong with you, but you had to go through something to emphasize your growth as well. And sometimes these things we go through, we call them traumas. And then all of a sudden, we live by that trauma because it's embedded in us. So then you go to the doctor, and then they start working with you and try to help you and heal you and guide you. But at the same time, they got you stuck with them. Now you belong to them because they got you addicted to them. And some of these guys that, they can't live, without having that counsel all the time. And so one of the things I've learned about myself is that I studied myself, and I realized the science of our bodies, our minds, and our hearts is so intelligent. We're born with so much intelligence in us that when we start to go into an effect of depression, it's literally the body healing us. We're going through a depression. We're going through this healing. The body's so intelligent and knows how to heal itself. But when you have that emotional hardship, we think right away it's depression because we labeled it now. Now we labeled it. So, oh man, it's depression. I don't like it. But we like being happy. We like laughing and dancing. But we don't like being this. But it's the same thing. It's just a different emotion going through you. It's natural. So it's coming through you. It's literally body healing you. It's just got to get out. It's just got to come out. And then you're like, and you'll feel it. So how you get it out is you exercise, you work out, you talk about it, you meditate, you cook, you go outside to you get in the sun, you listen to kids play, you listen to birds, you listen to the water, you listen to the wind. These are all natural modalities that we're born with on this earth. But man thinking came in and said, oh no, we got to control this. We got to control this now. And we got to control this. And you're this, and you're that, and you're this and that. See, that's a construct, man thinking. But when you listen to the natural thinking, you start to follow that because it's acceptance. It's not anger, it's not blame or shame, it's not pointing you, it's not labeling you, it's healing you, it's helping you. So you start to feel these things start to come out. And then the sweat lodge. Now, when you go into the sweat lodge, as a scientific thinker, I took we use lava stones. So I took these lava stones and I was very curious about them. I was looking at them. I said, what comes out of these? What's in these? Some of these lava stones have been sitting out here for thousands of years. I wonder what's all in them. So I took 4 of them and I took them to the University of Colorado in Fort Collins, Colorado. And I had them studied, break them apart and analyze them, study them, and then give me the results back. So they came back with the results and they found out all these ions and these minerals. But they had, in a lot of these, they had shock waves in them. Like, and what that was cymatic waves that was
Hmm.
frozen inside that lava stone. And all these minerals and ions and all these other, I can't remember what they were, but they were all frozen in there. So what you do is when I realized, and you heat them up to red hot, and you bring them into sweat line. As soon as you pour that water on them, it releases all those ions and minerals. And they go in us and they push all the negative and detox us. They start to detox us. But inside the mind, when you're depressed, and this is where I start to help PTSD combat vets, is there's a protein in your brain called a dynorphin peptide protein. And what happens is you heat that up. When you heat it up, it actually starts to counteract depression and addictions. So it helps you heal from that. It helps you to cope with that because it calms that down, and it helps you to see who helps you to understand what's going to relieves you from that. And so and so you keep coming back, and the more you come back, the more it heals you. So, and if somebody's out there that is a counselor, probably knows about that peptide, that dynorphin peptide, and that helps, and that still literally starts to heal as well. So these are the things that I've learned, and the fire as well as a philosopher. And so I start to help teach a fireman. Okay, we're going to teach her, or a woman or a girl. Okay, we're going to teach you how to build a fire. And first of all, gather things, and they might be frustrated, angry, pouty, never worked like that before in their life. Keep it, watch them, see what's going on. You're literally going to understand their emotions about themselves when you watch them do that, because that fire is going to start to work with them. And you can start to see their frustrations, what they're good at, what they're not. Start to analyze that, and you're watching them. And then when they get frustrated and they can't build a fire, you assist them, help them. I said, these are people, we're people coming in to help you understand that. And my dog's coughing. Sorry if you hear him coughing. But we start to help them, and then all of a sudden they build a fire by themselves and they're all happy. But yet they come again, okay, start a fire. All right, they start to chop wood, work at it, they're getting better, they're starting to get all these ideas. It's teaching them. Fire's teaching them. I'm not even there watching them at a distance. Pretty soon they get better and better, and all of a sudden they go to start the fire and it's already lit. And I said, okay, now you got good at that. Okay, now we're gonna go wait till it rains. Then you can bring them out there. Okay, now start the fire. And they get good at that, starting the fire in the rain. Okay, now it's the snow and the blizzard. Start the fire, teaching them. And they get confidence. They build confidence. Now they're confident in themselves. And the fire is like a horse. It knows your emotions. And then as you build that fire, now they learn how to build a house. I witnessed that time and time again. Now they gathered a family because they got confidence, self-love, determination, ambition, hard work. They built strength. They knew all of this. The fire taught them all this. I just stood back, watched them, and I watched them introduce the fire to them and let the fire. But humans can't think like that. Not if you don't think indigenous, you're not going to think like that. You're going to think construct all the time. You think, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds, what you're saying there is that thinking indigenous, in a sense, is seen with the heart instead of the head. Because that's what I see with the Western culture, like what you talked about. It's like we try to put everything in a box, like psychology, for example, right?
Yeah.
They try to mechanize it. Here's the rule sets. Here's the steps to go through. Here's the data you want to collect. But the true healers feel with the heart and heal that way. And so I'm listening to you. You're seeing these little subtleties when the person's building the fire. you know, the Westerner would be like, well, they need to, you know, mechanistically they need to do this. What you're doing is you're feeling their emotional state as they're working with that fire. That I thought was so profound when I was working with you and just seeing how you operate. It's the Native American way or the indigenous way is you have a different sight, right? It's like your third eye is open and you can see things that Westerners seem to be blind to.
Yeah, exactly. But like when I say, one of the things is that when I say we're all indigenous to this earth, a lot of Westerns get confused, like, huh? What? You know, what does that mean? You know, that you're born on this earth, unless you're born in Mars. You know, you're born on this earth means you're indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
Means you're born into laws, natural laws, nature laws. But when the man thinking comes in to control everything, they make it a construct. And then you can't do that with natural because there's side effects. And those side effects are when you put something not natural in something natural, there's a side effect and it's not good. So those are the things that happen and that I witnessed. And because, like I said, I put myself through therapy, and it took me it took me a while to really understand that. But when I went back to our culture and learned from that, it clicked. It clicked like that. I instantly understood it, felt it, heard it, saw it, everything. I knew it then. So that was my understood. That's the way I have to teach. And so, you know, I always say,
Doug, just one second, real quick. Folks, we're at the top of the hour, but we're gonna, Doug, if it's okay with you, we'd like to continue on after our scheduled time, just because this is so interesting. So anyway, go ahead and continue.
So, you know, like the fire was one of the things that taught me, because I was a fireman, and that's what taught me. Because when I first started to be a fireman, I was frustrated, I was crying. But when I got good, it really made me feel so confident. And back then, the old guys, very strict, very strict. So you had to walk like that. And I was very confident, and I was really good at being a fireman. And seeing them proud of me made me really, it emphasizes my healing as well. And so we go into another step of healing. A modality is called going into the storm. Here we talk about the Buffalo people, the Buffalo Nation, and the way the buffalo was created. It has all this fur and this big giant head. And the buffalo never runs from the storm. It goes into the storm because it knows it's going to come out sooner. So this is the metaphor of healing. And the philosophy of the buffalo is never leave a warrior behind. And so when somebody's going through a hard time, I say, okay, we're going to take you into the storm. I have to. Because if you run, you're going to always be running. We want you to face yourself. So they'll go into the storm. And I tell them, when you go in there, the Buffalo people are going to help you. They're going to guide you through it. Because there's going to be some times you can't see, you can't hear, because you'll be so inundated with hardship. And so, but you're going to have to understand something is yourself. So these are the things I teach them how to heal from body memory, from blood memory, from all of these things that they've been through in life. But I help them to feel it, to see it, to understand it, because it is, like I say, our bodies, minds, and heart are so intelligent. It turns it into a teaching. So when you come out of that storm, there's going to be people waiting for you there. And here is going to be your time to reciprocate. And that's one of the laws, is to reciprocate. You can't just take. You got to give. And that's how the sacred movement keeps moving in your life, reciprocating. Because if you don't, you're going to get stopped, and the law
Hey, Doug, we lost your audio.
Hear me?
Yeah, it's very muted. I don't know what happened there. We can barely hear you. It just clicked off a second ago. Oh,
Can you hear me now?
yeah, it's something I'm not sure what happened there. I can barely hear you.
How about now?
We can hear you. It's just it's very quiet.
Oh, what happened?
I don't know. It just clicked while you were talking.
Let me call you right back.
Okay.
All right, I'll call you back. I'll get right back on.
Okay, no problem. Oh, we have some questions or no?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Celicia.
Hi, what I wanted to know is if we can talk about the importance of why it has to be done without water. Water seems harmless. And also, is the Lakota method something you have to do in person, or is it something you could do where you are?
Okay. Great questions.
Can you hear me
I'll
now?
oh yeah, we sure can, Doug.
All
So
right.
Doug, we have two questions for you.
Okay.
One is when you do a vision quest, is it important to do it without water? And then the second question is, does this have to be done in person, or is there a way to follow your healing methods not in person?
Yeah, you can do it not in person, but I need to teach you something about it. A vision quest needs to be done without food and water because you want to heal too. You want to heal your body. You want to kill the cancers in you, whatever sicknesses you might have. If you have, it's gonna kill it. Your body's gonna eat it. So you're not only healing physically, mentally, emotionally, but you're killing all these sicknesses as well. That's one of the reasons why it's intense. So it's one of the things that I teach people is because we knew these things. We knew these things, and now we're scared of them. We're scared of ourselves. So I want people to challenge themselves. They get to know themselves, who they really are, what's your purpose here, because we're born with purpose, and when you live that purpose, nothing can stand in your way, no matter if they try, because it's instilled in you by the Creator. So this purpose drives you, and once you live that purpose, everything's going to be given to you, a home, everything you need. So that's how I live my purpose.
I just want to add to that, because that was the thing I was concerned about going in, because we were in Colorado at probably 10,000 feet when we did the Vision Quest. And so I'm a person that gets dehydrated very easily. And in Colorado, it's an environment where you get dehydrated very quickly. Combine that with the sweat lodges. Surprisingly, I wasn't struggling with thirst. So I did it for 2 days. But surprisingly, I didn't find it. I mean, I was very uncomfortable. Don't get me wrong. I was, just there's a lot of stuff coming through me, but I was really shocked that the thirst thing wasn't as overwhelming as I was expecting it to be. And to Doug's point, when you put yourself in this kind of shock state, your body goes into what's called autophagy. And so your body starts to eat itself. And the first thing it does is it eats the garbage in your interstitial tissue, which is your fluid system. So you have all these little toxins and particulate there. And so as your body's kind of going into this starvation mode, it naturally starts to consume all this bad stuff and flush it out of your system. So I think there probably is science that correlates to what this ancient healing does. We're just starting to learn that now.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
so Doug, one of the things that I thought was interesting, you talk about the Creator, and as far as this, the sacred school network that we're doing, we're exploring these different belief systems and just how people view spirituality. And so I would love to hear your personal, you know, understanding of the creator, you know, in the Lakota ways, understanding of the creator, because I think it's a very beautiful story, and I love how it, you know, it aligns with many other indigenous beliefs around the world.
Yeah. I was sitting with this priest one time, and he asked me, he said, you know, he was trying to set me up. He said, you know that we're made in the creator's image. And I looked at him and he said, you know that, right? He said, well, what do you think? What do you think how do you think the creator, the God is in your life, and how the creator, or how God treats, how do you see that in your life? And how do you imagine God looking? And I sat there, and in my life, there's a word in our language called mitakuye oyasi. It means we're all related to all my relations. And what that means is everything that the creator has created is our relative. What means is we're connected to. We have some kind of relationship with that creation on this earth. And I see creator has created this earth, created all of these things in this, and how the science came about of how this earth was created. And I looked at everything, and growing up with my grandmas and grandpas, great grandmas and great grandpas, learning the land, learning the things that they taught me about the trees that when you see our fingerprints are like the trees as well. We breathe, the tree breathes us, and we breathe the trees, and our DNA is like the trees. Our DNAs, we're all part of this earth. We all have some kind of stardust in us. And so I look at it and I said to him, I said, I said, the God is everything. God is that tree. God is that dog. God is the fire. God is me. And when I said me, he went, oh, what? Why would you take the God's name? I said, I didn't. I just said, I'm God. He said, you can't do that. And I said, why? If I'm created in your way, if I'm created in God's image, then I'm God. I'm also God. So, and he didn't like that. He said, but you got to be God fearing. I said, why? Why do I have to fear God? Why? But I'm God. You're God. Everybody is. I mean, the tree, everything's part of it. Why should I be afraid of it? Because you're going to go to hell. And I'm like, well, I don't believe in hell. I don't believe in the devil. I don't believe in that stuff. We never had that. I said, you guys brought that here. I said, so I don't believe in that stuff. And but what I do believe in is that we pray. You pray, I pray. And you pray your way, I pray my way. But one of the things I've learned about the creation, about being a part of Creator, is that you can create things in your life and make them come to you, make them reality. They call them dreams, goals, and reality. And I've done that. I've done that kind of thing, manifestations, you can say. And these things are real because I witnessed that. So when I was telling him about that, I said, everything is a creator. Everything is a part of me, and I'm a part of everything. I can't distinguish God as a human. I can only see God as emotion, a leaf, a butterfly, or because everything is movement. Everything is a creation of something that came to this earth for a reason, for us, every one of us, to interact, because we're all a piece of each other's puzzle. And so he had a hard time accepting my answer, because that's not the way, how I was taught. And so he didn't really like that. And so for me, the description of God for me is everything. You, me, everything. So everything that is created, we learn from it, we heal from it, we use it to help us. there's everything that we need to heal on this earth we can use to help each other and ourselves. I don't know if that's a very I don't know how that is, how if that made sense, but that's just the way I see it, and that's how I kind of interpret it to him. And he kind of, and then I seen I couldn't understand it because when my grandpa who passed away, there was a priest. There was two priests there. There was a Catholic priest. There was an Episcopalian priest, and one they didn't even look at each other. They were just standing there looking at different opposite ways. And I was standing in between them looking at them. And I was confused. And they didn't want to look at each other. So I had to bring them together to introduce them to shake hands. And they didn't want to do that. But out of respect, I asked them to do that. And then they went back into their mutual corners, upset with each other for no reason. I didn't understand. But what I understood later, it was the refuting about something in the religion. And so it was boggling to me how I saw that. So this is the things, this is how I see the creator in my life, as everything in my life is as I'm acting on that creation, my purpose. And that's why I say live your purpose. Your purpose is what you love. People say, I'm looking for my purpose. It's instilled in you. It's what you love to do, what fascinates you, what gives you that drive to do something. That's your purpose. And when you live it, it literally starts to help people and help each other and help Mother Earth. So, that's how I see the creator in my life.
That's very beautiful, Doug. Thank you. We're coming towards the top of the hour with you. Why don't, if you can just maybe summarize things in a couple minutes, and then we'll also have some questions for you before we close up. But if you want to just, if you have a couple last words you'd like to say before we open up to questions, I'd love to hear it. And then also tell people how they can get a hold of you, with your center.
Okay, thank you. There's this actor, his name is Terrence Howard. He redefined the periodic table in many different ways. And so that's how I look at myself. I'm redefining feeling in a way, in more of an intelligence, spiritual intelligence, in a way that, because I've seen a lot of therapists who didn't like my work, because I used to work for Anschutz Medical Center, and they used to bring the veterans here, and it was a 98% healing rate, and they didn't like it, so they took the program away. And so one of the things I've learned from that is that control, and that when we control people, we keep them sick. We keep people sick, and when we do that, there's side effects that starts to go out into the world, like everything's happening. But the people what I've learned is that in our culture, in our indigenous culture, what I've learned is that everything is scientific as well. Our teepees are scientific. Our smoke signals are scientific. The medicines that 100% of America's use are scientific, come from the earth, come from what we taught the Western society. And what we learned, how we found a lot of those medicines, is through animals. We watched that, we studied that, through dreams. And a lot of these things that come into this world, into our lives, you have to be aware of them and understand how they work with humans, how understand these things work with humans in life, and how naturalization, the laws of nature, how intelligent they are, and in our natural bodies and minds, they work with that. And when we teach people how to flow with that natural law, people start to heal. People start to get better. Everything start to become more intelligent. Now they're becoming warriors. And now they're like a buffalo. Never leave a warrior behind. And everybody's attracted to these people because of the healing modalities. So we have to understand that we got to work together. We got to help each other. We got to stop fighting. We got to really understand what we're eating, what we're breathing. All of these things are very important in our lives. And we have to be truthful. And I always say, look to your heart to stay truthful. And so that's one of the things, because everybody can be fooled up here, but the emotion right here can never be fooled. And so I live by those laws. I live by them, and they take care of me, my family. People I help heal, or people I help. And I like to say that I'm not healing people. I'm just waking people up. I'm helping them. I'm teaching them how to heal themselves. I'm teaching them how to look out into Mother Earth. And Mother Earth is saying, I got the medicine over here. And one of the things I've learned about the butterfly when I was a little boy, my grandma taught me that it's one of God's warriors. One of God's many warriors is a butterfly. And just thinking like that, people are like, huh? How is it a warrior? Huh? How is it that warrior? And it's the metaphor of that thought and how it guides you. Like those butterflies took my suffering away. That was amazing. I never witnessed things like that. And it was so amazing. And they helped me. They guided me. They were warriors. They took me through that day. Otherwise, I probably would have gave up and went down, and this vision quest would have never came. But they kept me there. They kept me there for a reason, because there was a purpose. Even they knew that needed to be fulfilled on this earth. So to what I say is believe in yourself. There's 4 principles that I follow, that I live by. And then one of them, the first one is hope. Hope is one of the principles. And there's faith. Another one is believing. And the next one is knowing. When you get here to knowing, everything you pray for or ask for comes somehow, some way. But when you get here, you have to be generous. You got to reciprocate, because it can take away when you get greedy. Because when you live by these laws like that, it won't make you go. It will take care of you and give you a good life, but it'll never let you be greedy, because you're helping people all the time. It teaches you that. And so I believe I got here now. I believe I got here because everything that I ask for and pray for comes. But I be careful. I really be careful. I don't go beyond it. I don't take it for granted and I abuse it and use it. I make sure I use it for the people that need it, and my family and my life. So believe in yourself and keep moving forward, and be honest by helping people. Be truthful with them, because people are hurt. There's wars going on. That's going to be a side effect too. So I just want people to understand that it's time to take care of our Mother Earth now.
Thank you, Doug. That was very beautiful. We're getting close to wrapping up. Are there any last questions?
You guys can also get a hold of me on my website. And the website is LakotawayHealingCenter.org. It's LAKOTAWAY Healing, HELING, Center, CENTER.org. And my email is the same, LakotawayHealingCenter@gmail. So write me email, support the cause, because it's a big nonprofit that has come into existence. It has helped thousands of people all over the world. And I've been all over the world healing and helping people. And it doesn't matter. There's no color involved. I mean, because all colors are beautiful. So this way helps all life. And it sees only your light. And so that's the way that I work in my life. And that's the way my grandma taught me, to always help people, because you make the world a better place when you do that. So continue to take care of yourself and support good people, good causes, and work on yourself, cook good food, exercise. And when we get sad, people are like, oh, I'm sad, that means your body's and your mind and your heart's telling you to be kind to yourself, be loving, take a bubble bath, take a walk, go get some food, take yourself out, do something nice for yourself. That's yourself telling you to be kind. So
We
yeah.
do have a question here. Michelle, you have a question? You're on mute, Michelle. There
Thank you
go.
for this information. It's very important for me. I just wanted to know if there, like that healing method, would it work for something like seizures or epilepsy, like to cure that?
What method is that one? Which one?
Like what you were talking about before.
Sweat lodges and your method of healing.
One of the things that I take right now for what I do is I take CBD. I take CBD because it doesn't have no side effect. It doesn't have any it won't damage your kidneys. That's what the pharmaceuticals, that's why one of the things I had to get off is because it was damaging my kidneys and my liver. And I had a few comrades who died because of that. So that's one of the reasons, big reasons why I got off him. But CBD is it's a very good medicine that helps you sleep and calms you down. And it's proven that it stops seizures as well. So research it first, see how it works for you or whoever you're working with, and study yourself. Study yourself. Don't be afraid of yourself. Take courage to heal. Be careful, but study yourself and take with the things that you think that's going to help you and guide you and all of that stuff. And have animals. Animals are amazing. They help you heal. I call them my therapists.
We have another question. Sarah, you have a question?
Yeah, that would be great. Well, I just want to thank you so much, Doug Goodfeather, for sharing with us. It was really beautiful how much you were able to share about your own experience, and, that you were able to join us after the sweat last night. And I just wanted to say that it was really cool to hear near the end there. I could really just feel your heart opening up, that connected to the beginning where you said you were trying to find your purpose. And then that really came through near the end, which was a really wonderful reflection for me as well about practicing, that we find our purpose through practice. And I watched you do that as you were speaking and practicing what it is that you do. It was a great reflection for me to continue to also do that sometimes I just feel so stuck and wonder, how am I going to get to where I want to be? Like, I can't see what's coming next, and I know what I want, but I don't know how it's going to unfold. So I feel just really uplifted with that, just keep going and it reveals itself. So thank you so, so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, I think we're at a full hour now. Michael, can I turn it back over to you if you'd like to say some closing words?
Surely, thank you. Excuse me, sorry for my voice. Doug, we can't thank you enough. It was a beautiful, beautiful presentation. A lot of us here worked with William Commanda, grandfather William Commanda, from the Algonquin Nation. And we also did ceremony with Arvo Looking Horse up outside of Montreal. And I can say I've been walking with the White Buffalo Calf since 92. What's moving about what you have said is as you're talking about consciousness, and the consciousness of the dominant society and the consciousness of the indigenous society, which in the end should be everybody, because that's exactly what you brought as a message, You know, love is what's holding the universes together. And that love comes in the instrument, in the symbol of the heart. And so your message is heartfelt, felt by all of us. And the way forward is only through the Red Road because of that relationship to Mother Earth. The consciousness of the Mother Earth with our consciousness will bring about the change and the transition that we're looking for. And I just bless the ground.
You know, I have a book out called Think Indigenous. You can get it on Amazon. Check it out. It's got a lot of my teachings in there. And yes, consciousness, so powerful, you know, to really see yourself in that way inside there, you know, and to really go deep inside your own universe. Everything's there. All the answers you need is inside you. We come with them, but we got sidetracked on the way this way. So we got to wake up and really see the things that is important in life, in this world, and that's how I learned about studying myself. And one of the things is when you go on Vision Quest, is called they bring a mirror. That's a mirror, and they put it in front of you, and this mirror is for you to look at yourself, and here you're going to learn yourself, learn the universe that lives in you. Sometimes you might be angry, and this is where I tell people, look at yourself and teach yourself how to love yourself. And you might not want to look at it. You might be looking the other way, but you're still going to be there. Still going to be there until you tell yourself you love yourself. Once you tell yourself you love yourself, you're going to like that person in that mirror. You're going to love that person in the mirror. It's going to change. So, yeah. Very
Right on. So, Greg, can you put up the mantra of unification? There we go. So we'll end this with the mantra of unification, and thanks everyone for being here. You know, please check out our website, soulschoolnetwork.com. Get involved. Mantra of unification. The souls of all are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love that underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all humanity love. Wirakocha. So thank you everyone for being here. Next is June the 9th. I believe we're going to be talking about the 7 cosmic rays. So it'll be an interesting as today. Bye, y'all.
Thank you, everyone. Doug, thank you so much.
Yes, Doug, and
Carol.
thank you, Dan.
Thanks, everyone. Much love.
Bye.
Care. Bye.
Bye.
Dogsha.